Welcome to a video algebra tutorial getting into the definition of slope. So slope is this huge idea as we get into linear equations. And in some ways it's really easy to get and understand, but for some reason a lot of students really have troubles really understanding the concept of what it is. So I'm hoping we can start off by defining what it is, get some really tangible ideas about what slope is, have it make sense for you guys as you're getting into your own algebra classes. Okay, so we've been working with linear equations. We know all linear equations fit this form, y equals mx plus b. B is specifically our y-intercept, or starting value. And m is what we're repeatedly adding over and over again. Sometimes we call it our constant rate. What are we adding over and over again? Repeatedly adding. And we've called it our slope. So we're really going to dig in more on what is m, how does it work, and in linear graphs and equations. Okay, so here I got two lines over here. We've got one line that's going over and it's slowly increasing, so we can see some change. It looks like it's going up that way. And then my green line is decreasing, and I want to look at, well, what are the slope of these lines? How can I think about this concept of slope? Let's first define what slope is here. So slope is slope, m, that's for my variable m there, equals the average rate of change between 2 points. That's all it is. Slope is telling me how much am I changing, what's my average rate of change between 2 points. So let's start with the red graph. Let's look at a couple points here. We're going to take this point. The coordinates of this first point right here are, let's see, if I go over on my x values, it's 5 over and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So my coordinates of that point are 5 and 4. So x value is 5, a y value is 4. So now, but I want to describe the change. So what's changing here? So I'm changing, if I go to this other point, there's how much change is happening, and the coordinates of the other point over here are an x value of 10 and a y value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how much change has happened between those 2 points? Well, if I quantify it, it looks like it went from 5 to 10 along my x values. So we changed by 5 units along my x. So I went over 5. And while that change in my x values was happening, there was also some change in my y values. I went from 4 to 6 in my y values. So we increased by 2. So for the red graph, our y values increased by 2, and our x values increased by 5. Slope says what's the average rate of change between 2 points. So a rate is where I divide them as a fraction. So the slope of the red line is going to be equal, I increased 2 along my y values as I increased 5 from my x. So 2 divided by 5, I can leave it as a fraction like that, it's lowercase, lowest terms. Or I could reduce it into a decimal. 2 divided by 5 is the same as 0.4, which means I increase 0.4 along y for every one x value. But there we go, there's the slope of the red line. It's a positive number because I'm increasing. As I go to the right, my y values are increasing, and it's a slope of 2/5. All right, let's look at the green line. Let's see what the slope of that one is. Let's take a couple points and think of the average rate of change there. So I'm going to pick this point right here. The coordinates of that one are 1 to the right, and then down 1, -1 for y. And let's jump all the way. Let's do a gap of 2 points. So this point right here is 3. So I go over 3 for x, and we went down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3, -7. So now I'm going to draw a little line. It looks like from there, let's talk about how much change happened. So between these 2 points, it looks like my x values increased by 3 from 1 to 3, so that would be a change of 2 along my x values. And my y values went from -1 to -7, so that's a decrease of 6. So even though as my x units are changing as my independent variable, it looks like here like I'm decreasing value every time. So let's write that out. So y decreased by 6, that's a -6, as x increased by 2. So if I put that together, the slope then is equal to -6, because I lost 6 for my y values, as I changed by 2 for my x values. So that means every time I changed x by 1, -6 divided by 2 results in a slope of -3. So the pattern is I lose 3 every time. You can see that x changes by 1. I also lose 3. I could think of slope as this way. I lose another 3. So slope is just the average rate of change between 2 points. I always need 2 points to find the slope, but for a line it could be any 2 points. The ones I chose don't have to be the only 2 points. I could find a different set of 2 points, find how much change is happening, put them in a rate, and I'll have my slope. But that's the big idea, is I want you to connect slope with just being the rate of change. Between those 2 points, how much is my y changing and how much is my x changing, and I'm dividing those two. I'm always doing my y change divided by my x change. Hopefully that gives you a really a tangible start to thinking about what slope is and the change in lines and why some lines increase, some lines decrease, some lines have all these different types of slopes.